It's making America healthy again. And we have updates regarding the Charlotte train schmurder here on the Bald Brad Show. Patriots, it's good to be back with all of you on this fine Tuesday morning. We are back at it, bringing you the news and everything you need to know about heading in your work day, your work week, and bringing you the entertainment. We are one of the top morning podcasts on Rumble, folks. So appreciate you always joining me, celebrating every victory that Donald Trump is getting all across this country. And I don't know about you, let me know in the chat. Are you guys tired of winning? Are you tired of winning? I told you you're going to win so much. So much you're going to say, please, Donald. Donald, stop allowing me to win. I can't take the winning anymore. So much winning. So it is good to see all of you in the chat. Yes, good morning. We are back at it, baby. Well, like I mentioned, a big Supreme Court win yesterday with Donald Trump, and it has the Democrat Party just all head spinning, freaking out, exorcism, vomiting from the mouth. They don't know what to do really with this whole thing. And boy, oh boy, is it going bonkers. Now, the Supreme Court case that was ruled was a little shocking to me too, to be fair, but the Supreme Court upholds Trump's ICE raids in Los Angeles. So a big L for the Democrat Party, a massive L for Gavin Newsom, and the Supreme Court handed Trump administration another win. The ruling that the federal immigration officials can continue their sweeping raids in Los Angeles area and can consider factors like ethnicity and accent when detaining suspected illegal immigrants. That's the part, well, I mean, the whole thing's really has the Democrat Party up in shambles, but this part is where they're going at it. We're a racist country again. Well, not again. You've always said we're a racist country, so I don't know what they're complaining about. Nothing's changed in terms of us being a racist country then, according to them. Once was, once is. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about, but now, you can't just go straight for ethnicity. Like, you can't go straight for like, oh, they're a Hispanic person. There has to be like another variable that's attached to it, but it is a metric that can be used, which is why a lot of people thought this was kind of like surprising. So to go a little bit deeper on this one, the court's ruling overturns a lower court's judge's decision, because all these lower court judges get to decide what the hell everybody else does in this country, I guess, and block the raids. Writing for the liberal minority, Justice Sonia Sotomayor issued a dramatic dissent. It's always dramatic, right? Just like we saw from Ketanji Brown Jackson, who a lot of people alleged used AI to write her dissent on the last one, claiming the court was subjecting people to the indignities of being handcuffed simply because of their looks and their accents. Well, who says that you're going to be handcuffed initially? And by the way, we've all been pulled over before and asked for our paperwork. I can't say we've all been detained. I haven't been detained, but people are detained all the time, American citizens, for something that they're suspected of doing. But, you know, it's all about indignities. Just a question here. Where was, you know, the way they always phrase this too is, oh, well, we need to have compassion on these people. Just like we covered yesterday with the train incident where a convicted 14-time arrestee, whatever you want to call him, criminal, deleted a young Ukrainian refugee. Well, we're supposed to have compassion with these people. Yeah, you're supposed to. Yeah, they're not homeless. He's not a homeless guy. He was an unhoused guy. You have to have compassion for him. In the same way, when you had that trans shooter delete all these children multiple times, right? You had one take place in Nashville, and then you had another one take place here. What was it, in Minnesota or whatever, with the church and the kids praying. Yeah, no, you can't call the guy by his name. You have to call her by her name. See, the trans person. Yeah, you have to be compassionate towards these people that are doing silly things. Just a question really quick. Where was the compassion for the trans people deleting the children? Like, where was the compassion of that person that did the heinous crime? Where was the compassion of that guy that stabbed that one chick in the neck the other day, and back in August of 26, this year, August 26, 2025, I believe was when he stabbed and murdered that person on the train, the Ukrainian refugee. Where was that guy's compassion? By the way, where was all the compassion for the United States American citizens by all these illegals pouring across the border, siphoning from our system and breaking our laws? Where was the compassion there? It's always on one side. I don't know if you realize that. It's always on one side, and the side that always has to be compassionate and bend the knee is always us. It's always us shelling out the money, right? Oh, we're the richest country on earth. Oh, these people have it tough. Well, if they have it so tough, which I don't disagree with, why don't you try to fix your own country? You guys notice that? It's always, hey, I'm not going to try to fix the country I'm leaving from, but you're damn right I'm going to try to change the country I'm going to, and it's going to be the United States. And I'd also like to point out, why are they not going to the other 192 registered nations in the United Nations that they can go to? Why does it always have to be us that takes everybody in? There's 192 other places to go. There's 193 registered countries in the United Nations Council. Why not go to any one of those? Why do we have to take everybody in? I never understood that. In the same way, we have to give everybody aid. We have to be the first ones there. We have to defend everybody. Like, I'm tired of it, by the way. I'm tired of it. Tom Homan's probably cracking beers right now with Trump. Well, Trump doesn't drink. Maybe with, I don't know, Noam or somebody. Kristi Noem pushed back on the characterization, stating that ICE is focused on public safety. 70% of everybody ICE is arresting is a criminal. The raids have yielded significant results with over 1,600 arrests in D.C. alone. Not enough, Tom. Not enough. By the way, this is crazy that that's just the arrest they've gotten in D.C. from the crime. But look at many of whom are suspected gang members or violent offenders. Yeah, get them off the streets. I think we've ran the study long enough where we've seen what happens when you have a bunch of mentally ill people roaming around the streets dictating how society gets to function. In short, it doesn't work. I mean, that's the abstract at the top of the study. It doesn't need to be a paragraph. Just it doesn't work is all it needs to be said. Unbelievable. So that was a big Supreme Court ruling. And like I said, the left are just absolutely vomiting from the mouth. They don't know what to do, how to handle it, where things are going. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We do this each and every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do about an hour and then we bounce out. There is not going to be any dark MAGA this evening. I apologize. I have work. Nothing I can do about that. Got to pay the bills. We don't do this full time. I wish. That'd be great one day to be able to do the Bald Brad show full time. But I mean, that's not in the cards for years and years from where we're at. Well, again, SCOTUS decision on LA raids triggers all the right people. Oh, baby. So this is where we get to read people coming in hot, saying what they need to say, airing their grievances. So Bill over at Fox News, who we love, still can't get his name right after 4 years of doing this, but, you know, hey, that's here nor there, shared a few of their comments from Los Angeles Democrat Mayor Karen Bass. We got Gavin Newsom in the mix, and the ACLU is all, you know, ACLU always has to dip their foot in. So here we go. Reactions to SCOTUS allowing immigration sweeps to restart in LA. Mayor Karen Bass. Here we go. Oh, boy. Today's ruling is not only dangerous, it's un-American. She's going to tell us what un-American is. Gotcha. Okay, Karen. All right, Karen, why don't you sit this one out? Okay. You want to know what's un-American? You go into like Africa while your city burns down. That's pretty un-American. It's also un-American to lie straight to American constituents that you are supposed to represent by saying, yeah, Donald, they could clean out their ash from their house, their burning timber tonight. And then it goes on a week, still nothing's happened. Then it goes on a month, still nothing's happened. So yeah, don't, you know, go somewhere else, Karen. Okay, Karen Bass. I want to be careful. We got Karens in the chat. We love those Karens. We don't like Karen Bass, though. Well, Newsom always has something to say. Can never keep his mouth shut. Trump's hand-picked SCOTUS majority just became the grand marshal for a parade of racial terror in L.A. Racial terror in L.A. Isn't it kind of racist to assume that it's only Mexicans and brown people are the ones that are illegal? That is so racist, Gavin. Gavin, sir, that is racist. You can't be saying stuff like that because there's white people that are also illegals. Yeah, there's also Chinese nationals that are illegals. Matter of fact, Gavin, they're coming from all over the place, or did, not anymore, because Donald Trump, we finally have somebody that wants to execute the laws in the books. But sir, what you said that's pretty racist, man, because we don't go after race. We just go after illegal. ACLU just says outrageous. Even they're like, oh, maybe we should fix this. Maybe this is a problem. You know things are bad when the ACLU just posts one word. Well, Newsom's full statement went a bit further, claiming that Trump's administration planned to hunt down anyone who looked Latino. You don't know that. That's just your racism coming out, Gavin. Every person is now a target. No, this is true. Every person is now a target. Correct, if you're illegal. Yes. Now, let's just say I'm walking down the street, la, da, 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 and they thought I was a legal immigrant. I'm like, whoa, boys, put them down. Let me get you my paperwork. No problem. Like, I don't walk around wondering if I'm going to get apprehended. And, the Democrats go, it's because you're white. It's because you're white. No, it's not because I'm white. It's because I'm an American citizen and I've lived here for 36 years. That's why. Like, I have the paperwork. I'm not worried. And let's just say I don't have the paperwork on me. Okay, I get pulled in. And guess what? It's going to get sorted out. Does it suck? Absolutely. But you know what? We wouldn't have to do this. Again, I'm just going to go back. We would not have to do this if the Democrat Party didn't allow illegal immigrants in this country. So unfortunately, when you have a massive crisis on your hands, there's going to be people that slip through the cracks. But if you would have never had this in the first place, guess what? Nobody would have slipped through the cracks, meaning we wouldn't have to do all this because, well, you wouldn't have broken the law in the first place, Democrats, meaning by executing the laws in the books, not allowing millions of people to pour across the border, hundreds of thousands of Americans passing away due to fentanyl and other drug overdoses and all the whole bit. Yeah, you wouldn't have to do any of it, but this is what happens when you have a crisis, is that you're going to have people that do slip through the cracks, meaning you're going to have American citizens get apprehended that have to show their paperwork. But they can't fathom this, and they have an agenda, which you all know already. Well, you have Gavin Newsom saying hand-picked SCOTUS majority, which we read. His administration is targeting Latinos and anyone who doesn't look or sound like Stephen Miller's idea of an American to deliberately harm our families or economy. I told you, this guy's slimy, man. He's good at politics. He's slimy. Trump's private police force now has a green light to come after your family. Every person is now a target. And you know what it is? It's kind of sad, is he totally plays on people's ignorance and he plays on people's stupidity, which is a very sad thing. And by the way, something you shouldn't do. I'll give you an example. If you're making $2,000 a month and somebody gives you a car loan for $600 a month, you make $2,000 and they give you a car loan that's $600 a month. Do you think that person is playing on somebody's ignorance and that's kind of a malicious thing to do? Absolutely. But the Democrat Party is so used to doing things like that. Treat you as if you're stupid, gaslight the crap out of you, change the definitions of words to fit their narrative, but you're not eloquent enough to know the definition of the original word, so you play into the word that they just changed. They do this all the time, and it's a very, very common thing to do, which I have my own theory out there. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. My own theory is that's why they're bringing down the education system, because if you can have a dumber population, well, then you can go ahead and do malfeasance against them and, gaslight the crap out of them, and they'll have no idea. Trump's private police force is now greenlit to come after your family. Here's Karen Bass. I want the entire nation to hear me when I say this isn't just an attack on the people of LA. This is an attack on every person in every city in this country. Do you guys feel attacked? By the way, we got black people that watch the show. We got Hispanic people that watch the show. We got every race and ethnicity that watches the Bald Brad show across the world. Just a question. I guarantee you there's not a single person, a patriot in the chat, that feels as if they're going to be targeted by ICE. Give me a break. Or DHS. Doesn't matter who it is. Oh boy. Today's ruling is not only dangerous, it's un-American and threatens the fabric of our personal freedom in the U.S. Don't tell me what American is. I'm so tired of these people that literally do un-American things but tell us that it's un-American. Yeah. Okay, Karen. Okay. Well, in other news here, we have Zelensky coming out, and he ain't happy. The reason why is because a Russian airstrike killed more than 20 civilians who were collecting their pensions in a village in eastern Ukraine. President Vladimir Zelensky said on Tuesday he called for pressure on Kiev's allies on Russia, whose forces have pressed a grinding offense across much of the eastern region, and diplomatic efforts to end the 3.5-year war have largely stalled. And excuse me, I was just about to mention that we haven't really heard much even from Trump talking about Russia here. And, mind you, there's that big meeting that took place and nothing really came of it. We were told that there's a lot of ground that was covered, and no pun intended, but I haven't heard anything since. And like I mentioned, I'm not so sure what type of tariff increase is really going to do anything to Russia. We don't have much trade with them. We do. But mostly it's coming from even some of our allies are buying energy from Russia. You need to choke them out. But if it's going to not be other countries that are playing ball with you, you're kind of stuck with allowing Russia to do what they're going to do. And Russia knows that. Russia holds more cards than obviously even the United States does, to be fair. I mean, we don't have an appetite to go to war with them. We don't want to go to war with anybody. I'm not saying we should, but I don't think there's any way of stopping this, really. And you're going to have other countries that need to step in, like mainly China, to be fair, step in, but they're not going to. The Chinese love this stuff. Zelensky said that the Russian airstrike had hit the village about 15 miles from the city of Sloviansk, I don't know, and several kilometers behind the front line, directly on people, ordinary citizens, at the very moment when pensions were being distributed. I mean, that's a rough one, right? You're finally stoked to get your pension. You're in retirement. You know what I mean? You're kicking your shoes off, trying to have a good time, and bam, a bomb drops. It's terrible, by the way. It's terrible. War is so ugly and it's so evil, man. It's sad. You know, when the war is against terrorists and you're going after terrorists, like, I am all for that, because you're deleting people that are trying to delete other people, and no matter who you are. In this case, you're just going after soil, and you're allowing young people to just be deleted. And I know I've said this and I've kicked this can down the road many times, and I beat the dead horse with it, but geez, like, young men are perishing, and Donald Trump sees it, and it's very sad. And it's not exactly young women that have to go fight on the front lines. There are some, I'm sure you could find them, but it's rare. No, it's your husbands, it's your uncles, it's in some cases your dad, and all these things, and they have to go out there. Mind you, winter's coming soon, folks, and it's going to get freaking cold out there, and that just adds another element to the terribleness of this whole thing. The world must not remain silent, Zelensky said. The world must not remain idle. A response is needed from the United States. A response is needed from Europe. A response is needed from the G20. I mean, look, he's not totally wrong. I mean, what are you going to do? It's not exactly him keeping this whole thing going, as far as I'm aware, as of this moment. I'm sure there's an element to it, but I think Russia is the one that invaded. Russia is the one that can stop this whole thing, and if it's given up that territory that was the main issue, then yeah, Zelensky just needs to give it up. But as I mentioned, then you need to have basically NATO countries to be doing some sort of work and security measures in the region, so that you make sure that Putin never does this again, because if he does, well, now you got a bunch of NATO allies to deal with, and that was part of one of the security measures of the negotiations that were being had. We'll go ahead and just not incorporate Ukraine into NATO, but we'll basically treat it as if they were in some way, shape, or form, by having the allies, meaning some NATO countries, inside of the region. And not to mention, we also have that mineral deal that's going on, so that also helps quite a bit as well, in terms of kind of having a security guarantee, that security measure in the region. So that's always a plus as well. But if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, folks. You hitting that like button greatly helps the show. It's always appreciated. If you're over at Rumble, shout out to you guys. So that also helps quite a bit as well. Rumble is our main platform, in terms of streaming platform. In terms of kind of having a security guarantee, that security measure in the region. So that's always getting a little feedback. I apologize. We're trying to do things a little bit different today. I'm trying to do a little bit of experimentation on the channel to see what's going on. So late last night, unbeknownst to you guys, I went through my channel, and as many of you know, I teach statistics. And I'm not saying I'm a wizard at it. I was going through my channel, and there's a thing called uniform distribution. Okay. And a uniform distribution, let's see if I pull a graph up for you guys, is something that's kind of interesting. I'm not saying it's rare. I'm not saying you wouldn't ever see it in real life, but it's uncommon. It's uncommon for our scenario. So right here is a uniform distribution. See how everything is flat? This is frequency on the vertical side, meaning it's how frequent something occurs. Okay? It's how frequent something occurs. Well, down here is your possible values. Alrighty. This is what my podcast looks like. If you were to graph, now it's going to have tiny little bumps in the road. It's going to go like that. Okay, it's going to go ups and downs, because you're never going to have exactly 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200. I just want to point out, this is what my show looks like for like the last 2 years. Folks, that should raise alarm bells for anybody. Mind you, Jeff's an auditor, so Jeff knows at least some statistics. If you look at my show, I'm not saying it hasn't gone up or down slightly. I'm talking slightly. It's actually pretty incredible if you look at the views I have with 107,000 subscribers. Oh, I am continuing to build the case that YouTube is almost guaranteed to be fucking with my channel. I'm sorry to cuss. You don't get a uniform distribution just unnaturally. And if you do, it's extremely rare. But hello. Yeah. So it's a little, I mean, folks, if you look at it, it's like 263, 250, 274, 257, for like 2 years. With major growth on this channel, by the way. Major growth. Not buying bots, by the way. I don't pull that. Not buying comments or likes. All I'm saying, it's a little odd. Maybe it is legit, but it's a little odd at the end of the day. So I want to share that with you. I thought that was something interesting that I've been mapping out for quite some time, is that we have a uniform distribution. Yeah, there you go. Lulu said it right. Obviously set a every limit ever on you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a little odd, man. It really, really is. And it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. All righty. Well, we have here Trump admin slams media for claiming ICE targets schools. So we have this taking place. The Trump administration slammed the legacy media on Monday for suggesting that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement conducts raids at schools, the Department of Homeland Security told the Daily Wire. Again, just completely lying to people. And, again, playing on their ignorance. Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, accused the media of fear-mongering with implying that the Trump administration was targeting students in classrooms. McLaughlin said arrests would only be made at schools if the target was an illegal immigrant employee. That's what they do, right? There's an employee at the school. Oh, look at, they did an ICE raid. And then they'll have the cameras out there. And when the cameras, they'll play into that going, oh, look, they're going after the children. The children are scared. There's ICE on campus. The children. They don't give, folks, they don't give two bleeps about the children. The Democrats lost during the Biden administration 340,000 children to forced labor and sex trafficking. Don't tell me that you care about the children and that you're worried about ICE going on these school campuses worried about the children. Are you kidding me? Bullying is more rampant than ever. They have no consequences for a kid beating the crap out of your kid. Nothing will happen to the kid that beat the crap out of your kid, but your kid is the one that will be suspended or something happening to him. And then you'll have to sit through some restorative justice, kumbaya circle, and tell each other their feelings as your kid's trying to ice his black eye and his broken nose. Yeah, they don't care at all about children whatsoever. If they did, well, that's why in Democrat-ran areas, they wouldn't allow your kid to have to walk through homeless encampments, step through needles and syringes, watching a guy defecate and masturbate in front of your kid while they're just trying to get to school to get an education. All these things. Yeah, they wouldn't have that. See, your kid would be able to ride their bicycle down the street without having the worry of being attacked by a violent gang member, a homeless person, a illegal immigrant that's going to sell them off into forced labor. Yeah, if they truly cared about children, they wouldn't be trying to lop off their genitals, give them puberty blockers, hormone enhancers, teach them how to masturbate at a third grade level like we saw in New Jersey with cartoons. Yeah, if they really cared about children, they wouldn't be trying to indoctrinate them in the education system or through the mainstream media or through entertainment like Disney. Yeah, they wouldn't be doing any of that. But they don't care about your children is where I'm getting at. And I think I've built enough of a case to prove that that's simply not the case. These smears are contributing to our ICE law enforcement officers facing 1,000% increase in assaults against them. Several media outlets have published stories highlighting fears that immigration authorities would show up at schools. The New York Times ran an article called "What If ICE Agents Show Up?" Schools prepared teachers and parents, while the Washington Post pushed this back to school season. Educators prepare for ICE encounters. No, we don't. I'm sure there's maybe these high population illegal immigrant areas where they are. But at the end of the day, the law is the law. The impact has been real. ICE raid fears keep students out of classrooms. Well, no, if they're looking at the attendance numbers and contributing to because of ICE raids, the attendance numbers have been down for years, ever since COVID, and you can't get the kids back in the classroom. See, when we all grew up, you know what used to happen? You used to have a knock on the door by the police department saying, hey, where's your kid? Why are they not in school? And if your kid doesn't attend school, guess where you guys get to go? Well, you guys get to go to jail as the parents. That's not the case anymore. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So Well, how do I know? Because I work in the education system. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen both public and private schools. I've seen how they function. I've seen students legitimately show up to school one day, an entire semester, and still graduate. And yes, I do have the proof for it. I've seen students show up one day. There's 180 days in the school. For one semester is 90 days of school. 90. Showed up one time, one day, and still graduated. By the way, that's not possible. You have to be present. So that's what goes on there. But don't worry, they care about the kids, folks. They care about the kids, except they don't care about the kids that are being rapey to coming across the border or deleted or sold off into some country and the parents never see them again. All these things. Yeah. Well, they care. What do you mean? How do I know? How do I know the Democrats care? Because they told me. They just told me in a news media article that they care. Their actions don't show it. That's fair. Their actions don't show it whatsoever. But no, they care. And that's why they're going to trans your kids. Speaking of transing your kids, Sarah Carpenter dragged for trans rights themed VMAs performance. So here we go once again. When you thought this stuff was gone, do you notice it keeps originating? Yeah, still graduated. That is correct, Q. If you only saw what's going on in the education system, I've seen people, not to deviate from this, I've seen people in the education system a weekend before, a Friday before graduation, have single digit percentages in their classes and still graduate the following Monday. Yeah, it's real. Not once or twice, by the way. Almost every year since I've worked, I've seen something like that. It's pretty crazy. Alrighty, so it's somebody had done a little bit of stuff in Hollywood, right? I'm part of the Screen Actors Guild. Nothing major. Haven't done anything big. Matter of fact, I suck at acting. But I will say there's a dark element to this whole place. And I used to go to a Bible study on one of the lots down there in Hollywood. I should say up there in Hollywood. And there's like an underground Bible study that you have to do because you are frowned upon if you're a Christian or Catholic in Hollywood. And no, I'm not kidding. It's almost legitimately underground. And it's a small, tight-knit circle. And it's kind of cool because you get celebrities in there from time to time. And so anyways, when you go on the thing, you have to like give like a code like, oh, this is the name of the study. This is the name of the study. This is the name of the Bible study to it. And the security will know. So let you in. But this is not going anywhere, you guys. They're going to still push this stuff because there's mental illness. Now, drag has been around for a long time, and so is cross-dressing. But that element of trans was never really there because we used to have mental institutions where these people would go to receive help. Now, when we think of mental institutions, we think of the people being tied up, right? Like Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio, you know what I mean? And the buzzed head, and she's like, shh, when she's like sweeping leaves, but there's no leaves there. That's what we're used to seeing. But this stuff is crazy, man. And so now when you have these people with a mental illness just roaming the streets, you know, wagging their pee-pee everywhere, telling you that they're a female, it's kind of a problem. So pop star Sabrina Carpenter threw her support behind trans rights during her performance at the VMAs on Sunday night. The 26-year-old singer made the overtures while promoting her new single Tears, a track from her latest album called Man's Best Friend. After arriving on stage via a manhole, she was joined by a cast of dancers dressed in drag. They include known drag stars from the competition show RuPaul's Drag Race, such as Honey Balenciaga, Simone, Dashawn Wesley, and Richard Shazam. Coleman Domingo, who also appears in Carpenter's music video for the single, was also there. So I'm not going to play that because I don't want to see a bunch of men dressing like women dancing in front of me. It's weird, it's gross, and it's not normal. Now, I'm not saying men can't wear skirts in society. And what I mean by that is, you know, you got the kilts over there with the Scottish. I know you got a lot of the Samoans that wear something kind of similar, kind of garb, looks kind of like a dress or whatever. And I'll tell you what, if you think Samoans aren't manly, look, their ladies are manly, dude. Their ladies will kick your you know what. You know what I mean? Samoans kind of go against the grain a little bit. I ain't messing with no Samoan, dude. Those guys are some tough SOBs, man. I got a lot of respect for the Samoans, dude. And they got a great culture, very family culture, family oriented. Their kids are great, and usually they're well respected. But yeah, you can wear, if you're a Samoan, man, you wear a dress skirt all you want, man. I ain't questioning your masculinity, let me tell you. Like, everybody knows what I'm talking about. You do what you need to do. And same with the Scottish, man. The Scots, same thing, dude. Built burly, dude. We're in a kilt, man. Hey, more power to you, brother. I got no qualms. But you can tell, you know, who's a lady boy and who isn't. Sometimes. Now I've seen some crazy stuff over there in what's that called? Thailand, Bangkok, or whatever, where they got the lady boys. I don't know which country it's from. I just seen the YouTube videos. They're deceiving. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, some of them will get you. You know, you're looking at them like, what? How about you? Then once they start speaking, though, that's the dead giveaway. The dead giveaway. Once they start speaking, that Adam's apple starts going, you know exactly what you're dealing with. All righty. Well, let's see what else we have in the news here. Where is the outrage? Trump rails against media. Democrat crime for the brutal train schmurder. We have right here a post from the President of the United States. Let's go ahead and read this. I have seen the horrific video of a beautiful young Ukrainian refugee who came to America to escape the vicious war in Ukraine and was innocently riding the metro in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she was brutally ambushed by a mentally deranged lunatic. The perpetrator was a well-known career criminal, correct, 14 times, dude, who has been previously arrested and released on cashless bail in January, a total of 14 times. You know what's sad? Is I've covered cashless bail or no cash bail for almost a year now because we have that in, I believe, California. And how many times have I said that these people are going to go out and just commit a heinous crime again? I don't know how many times I've said it on the podcast that this is what type of stuff's going to happen. And it's sad that it's happening. And Democrats, by the way, did you notice that there's no change for it? No change. By the way, there's never a change of, oh, by the way, the guy used a knife. No, where's the ban on knives, by the way? There's a lot of knife and horrific things happening with knives, especially over there in the United Kingdom because they don't have firearms. And the same thing in Australia. Australia turned in their firearms. So where's the ban on knives now? This guy, I mean, how many times do we see it? Weird. How did he get a knife? How'd the guy get a knife, right? Because they like to play dumb with us. You know what I mean? Like they like to be stupid. How'd the guy get a knife? Well, what the hell was he doing riding the train and walking the streets? Well, I'll tell you what he was doing. Committing crimes. What, Mr. President, what else would the guy be doing? I mean, that's what Democrats love. They don't mind it. So you have to be compassionate, Mr. President. Come on. He's a good guy. He's the Maryland man. He's just like the Maryland man. No different. Good guy. Oh. Yeah, he's allowed to walk the streets. Commit what crimes? 14. What crimes happen, right? They like to gaslight us. What crimes? Criminals like this need to be locked up. Correct. Well, not just locked up, but in a mental asylum. The blood of this innocent woman can literally be seen dripping from the killer's knife. I don't know what's in. I saw the video. I didn't know if the killer cut themselves or because that was a lot of blood. So I have a feeling. I believe the killer cut themselves. I don't think that blood on that knife. I mean, there would be some, but the amount of blood that was dripping from that thing down the train, I think that person cut themselves in their hand. That's what I think. And now her blood is on the hands of the Democrats who refuse to put bad people in jail, including former disgraced governor and wannabe Senator Roy Cooper. North Carolina and every state needs law and order, and only Republicans will deliver it. Correct. Not wrong. Not wrong. Additionally, where's the outrage from the mainstream media on this horrible You notice they're still silent over this. I mean, there'll be like a quick like flash for it because then they can say they covered it. That's the whole purpose, right? So that you can never go, well, you guys didn't cover this. Oh, yes, we did. Oh, yes, we did. We just covered it yesterday. Wow, you dedicated 30 seconds to it. Stop traffic, notify the newspapers. Oh, wait, you won't stop the newspapers, but you'll definitely stop traffic with protesters, protesting illegal immigrants, and allowing criminals to walk the streets like this. You'll protest for these criminals, but where's the outrage and where's the burning of the buildings for this young woman here? And by the way, I'm not calling for that. I'm being facetious. I'm being satirical. I'm being joking, condescending, a smart ass for the Democrats that can't pick up what I'm saying here. Because if it was the other way around, where let's say she deleted this guy who's a 14-time criminal and probably does a lot of crazy things. If this guy was the one deleted, Black Lives Matter would be out there showing this guy's 8th grade graduation picture because he never probably graduated high school, meaning there is no nice photo of this guy. So they got to go back to 8th grade to find that nice photo. You know how they always pull that one? Instead of showing the guy holding like 2 AKs or 2 Glocks that are all chromed out in front of him, holding up some gang sign with the teardrops over a dead body. Yeah, they crop out the dead body, but they'll definitely keep the guns in there. So they'll show his 8th grade graduation. But if it was a reversal, yeah, they'll burning down buildings, racism's at its highest point since we've ever seen. America's at its darkest. Democracy's dead. They're going after Latinos. Now they're hunting down black men on trains. Nope. Just, okay, that, like Jeff said, they started a GoFundMe for this guy. That one guy that killed that teenager, that high schooler in what was like Austin, Texas or something like that. Started GoFundMe for that guy too. There's a constant theme here. Everything's asked backwards. It's a little odd, a little weird. And that's what happens. You know what? It just hit me. You want to know why things are asked backwards? You want to know why things don't make sense and common sense has left society? Is because you have a bunch of mentally deranged people roaming around in society that think that they are a woman when in actuality they're a man. They're hearing voices. They're deleting people. There's criminals running rampant all over the streets. And if you think Charlotte is bad, heck, go watch that guy's video that goes on the streets and interviews actual criminals and gang members and walks around the city with them as he's being protected by like 20 of them with firearms. Go look at that, at how many people are smoking crack, doing drugs in broad daylight. And I love you to death. Somebody commented on yesterday's video and they said, well, you can't really blame the police officers. They're being told not to do it. Not all the time. Not all the time. Because you want to know how I know? Because the guy asked them in the video, is it illegal to be doing these drugs? And the cops literally said yes, but we're not going to arrest them. They're legitimately doing drugs, smoking crack right in front of the police officers that just got done. There's like 15 of them in this scene. Just got done saying, yeah, they can't be doing that, but we're not going to arrest them. Matter of fact, they also have like a social worker, quasi cop officer guy. I don't even know what the hell you'd call these people. But he literally said, yeah, I'm not going to arrest them because they have a problem. Arresting them is not going to fix the problem. They need to seek help. And then he goes on to say, well, they don't want help. Okay, well, then arrest them. Maybe if we arrest them, we keep them in prison or jail long enough, maybe they will get sobered up. It's pretty tough not to be sober after 5 years of not getting any drugs and just being locked up for, I don't know, doing drugs, selling drugs, and ruining your life than it is, not only selling drugs, doing drugs, but ruining the life of somebody else. But you have to have compassion. You have to have compassion. Gotcha. It's always us to have a compassion. Where was the compassion for the guy that sold your son or daughter drugs? It might not even sold your son or daughter drugs. They just might have been in the vicinity of the fentanyl, sniffed it by accident because it got a dust in the air, and he deleted because you only need the tip of a pencil of fentanyl to delete you. Where was the compassion there? Do you notice it's always one-sided? I know I keep repeating myself. It's always one-sided. And by the way, to have that thinking, you really have to force yourself to be one-sided in that thinking. Unbelievable, man. Well, this is also taking place here. This was just 9 minutes ago, so this is breaking news. Texas Governor Abbott bans Sharia law to defend equal rights. I'm not against it. It's just, who would have thought? Who would have thought in 2025 we'd be talking about Sharia law? Well, it kind of makes sense when there's kind of a bunch of Muslims running around kind of taking over your cities and just openly saying what they're going to be doing and what their agenda is, what their long-term goal is. Well, you have here Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed legislation banning Sharia law and compounds statewide, framing it as a defense of equal rights amid rising concerns over cultural integration. Well, what integration? You mean cultural takeover? No. If you know anything about the faith, if you know anything about Islam, no, there's no integration. It doesn't work that way. Mm-mm. Now you have these. By the way, it's one of the most popular faiths out there. I'm not saying that there aren't great people that practice it. There's great Muslims everywhere. But what I'm saying is, if you think that there's just an integration aspect to that culture, no. The move, announced on Monday, responds to a viral video of a Houston area Islamic cleric urging businesses to comply with Islamic principles. No. See, that's just integration. It's just integration by force. And the integration is ultimately taken over. And that way there's no overlap in the integration whatsoever. It's just Sharia law. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Such as avoiding alcohol and pork sales. Abbott urged residents to report any attempts at Sharia enforcement, building on his 2017 law redistricting foreign legal systems. So here we go. This is what that looks like. Here, I want to make sure I don't blow your eardrums out. Give me one moment. Here we go.
And not violate the religion of Islam by selling and distributing products that are against the religion, because we should love what Allah loves and we should hate what Allah hates. This is what we're here for, and little by little, one by one, we're going to be visiting all of the stores in the neighborhood, particularly the inner city neighborhoods where the religion of Islam is ignored, by not violate.
I'm trying to read their signs. Okay, maybe get a good look. I mean, I know it says alcohol, gambling, and pork, but I can't read that fine print. We do not support something. I don't know if there's maybe a photo. Maybe somebody got a grab of the photo of one of the signs here. Let's see. Well, the comments say this is not Sharia law. This is the Nation of Islam, dude. They've been around since the early part of the last century. They've been trying to clean up their own neighborhoods for decades, nearly over a century. You can demand all you want. Doesn't matter. You won't get it. They are having success. Now, this person isn't wrong. They are having success. So that's what they're pushing here. Let's see if we get a better look at. Okay, here we go. We do not support something merchants who claim to be Muslim. Islam strictly forbid alcohol, gambling, and pork. So I guess this is my guess. I guess there are merchants that are selling alcohol and pork and doing gambling, but they claim to be Muslim, but they're not actually a practicing Muslim. In other words, they're not practicing Islam. Which is kind of interesting that by the way, I mean, usually as Christians, you don't go out and like throw shade at your brother, right? You don't want to make your brother stumble. You know, you do it in confidence and you address your brother in confidence to help them get back up off their feet and stop sinning and stop doing what they're doing. You don't take the public media and start parading down the streets going, hey, look at my brother in faith. Look at what he's doing. He's selling pork and alcohol. He's not a true Muslim. Yeah, I don't know much about that faith in the sense of ousting your brother for sinning, but usually you do that behind closed doors, okay? So that's a thing, but that's pretty wild stuff there. And it makes people nervous because of what took place with Mamdani and how he has a chance of actually getting in and winning over there in New York. And by the way, I hope that guy wins. I'm as serious as a heart attack. I hope Mamdani wins because I want to see what happens see, it doesn't affect me in a way in the sense of, well, I don't live in New York, but I just want to see. By the way, I think the guy would get in and he probably wouldn't push his policies, or at least he'll try and then he realizes that it doesn't work because it never has worked. I mean, I know you got to tell an idiot that something's been tried over 100 times, over 100 years and has never worked a single time, but then they're going to tell you that, well, it's just they just didn't do it right. Yeah, it wasn't full socialism. That's why. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Full. Go talk about some leaders in the past that have tried that and let me know. So I hope he wins because I want to see the social experiment of the fall of one of the greatest cities that's ever existed on this planet, New York City. I mean, it's already been fallen. It's been falling for quite some time in the same way. So is Hollywood and Los Angeles. It used to be something great. Not anymore because Democrats ruin everything that they touch. Pretty much everything. Yes. Yeah, Brad, that's a little harsh. I know, but it's true. I've lived here my entire life. I've saw the decay of my own state. And you want who is to blame? Democrats. And you can almost look at every Democrat ran area. And what you would notice is there's a constant overlap with those areas in terms of crime. If you look, I think it's like the top 10 major cities or something like that in terms of crime are all Democrat ran. It's bonkers, man. All their areas. So I've been posting this a little bit. Speaking of the faith, now you're going to notice something by nationality here of sexual offenses in London. And this is also taking place all across the world. If you kind of notice and you go down here, there's kind of a similar faith that kind of rolls and flows through all these numbers here. Now, there's many variables that go into this. I'm not saying that faith is the contributing factor in terms of why people are doing something, but there definitely is a commonality here with all of that. Now, the other commonality, because again, there's usually many variables that have those outgrowths that lead to some sort of output. The other commonality is a lot of these are like, pretty poor countries. And usually when you have a poor country, sometimes that leads to poor morality. It leads to single fatherhood. It leads to lack of traditional and family values. But that's what you get. So I don't want to say like, oh, well, it's Islam that's leading to the sexual offenses that are taking place. What I'm saying is it's definitely one metric, and I think it is a big metric. Now, we call them contributions in mathematics or in some mathematics, and a contribution is something that's contributing to the output of said something. Well, when there are different contributing factors, meaning variables that go into the output, you can actually identify and quantify which one has the most effect on that output. And that would be a contribution. The contribution is the one that has the biggest impact on said output. I'm not saying you do it in this case. I'm sure you could in some sort of study, but that's beyond my level of mathematics and beyond my pay grade. So we have that there for all of you. Well, with that being said, we're going to end a little bit early today. I apologize, but it's a long day for me. I'm going to be having worked Probably a 12 plus hour shift, easily 12-hour shift. I think I got to go from basically 7:30 a.m. to about 8:30 p.m. just straight. And then I got to come home and prepare the show. So I'm going to be working literally all day. But that's not me complaining. That's just me giving you a heads up of what's going on, why we don't have Dark MAGA today. So we're going to have to do some filler stuff throughout the week because we're behind on schedule. I took one day off and then now we're not having Dark MAGA. I'm slipping, folks. But thank you for always tuning in. Appreciate you. Make sure, folks, if you want, the season's coming up. The season is coming up and there's birthdays. If you go to my website, baldbrad.com, and you go up here to the book tab, you can go to Amazon and grab a copy of Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, and get yourself a copy of paperback and hardcover. Get that for a friend. It's a great gift idea. By the way, it's always nice to have it laying around the house. Like say somebody, you're not ready to go to the store or get a gift for somebody. Well, you got this laying around. You might as well just give it to them. Head over to Amazon. You can also get it on Barnes & Noble and some Walmarts, by the way. Get yourself a copy of Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. It's a great book. It will always be a timely book since Democrats are continuing to go off the rails. And then lastly, we do have blogs. Check out some stuff that I've written. We got some fun stuff. Ma'am Donnie here. These are always great reads for all of you. Matter of fact, I need to update that this week and put about a few more articles. And lastly, we have a Bald Brad store, the merchandise, the logo that I helped design. I had somebody do it for me because I don't draw well. But this is still, by the way, this right here, this is the shirt that I wear. Whenever you see me wear my Bald Brad Show shirt, this is the shirt that I'm wearing. Dude, I love this logo. This is freaking awesome. The Minutemen, the militia, the average Joe American that basically saved this country, put his ass on the line. Oh yeah, baby. So American Patriot, 1776, Bald Brad Show, Liberty or Death. Love this shirt. One of my favorites. And this is the one that I wear personally. But we got a lot of women's merchandise as well. So if you're a gentleman over here and you want to be trans, we got a lot of women's merchandise. Just don't wear it outside because if you're a trans person, I don't want you wearing my merchandise because it's a little odd, a little weird. And then that kind of gives the image that, we're a little odd and a little weird. Which, by the way, we are a little odd and weird, aren't we? That's okay then. If you're trans, you can wear my stuff. That's fine. Alrighty, enough of the jokes, enough of the satire, enough of the clowning around. Let's get serious. Thank you for joining the Bald Brad Show. We'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode. And we'll make sure we bring you the breaking news, folks. With that being said, pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump, pray for your family. And you know what? Tell somebody you love them today and give them a hug. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.